Good day, everyone. This is Sharyl Arendain-Ermac, an education program specialist from the Division of Bukidnon, and I will be your facilitator for today. Today, I will discuss about the Assessment for Basic Literacy Test, or ABL. This session aims to attain the following objectives: to identify the basic features and the specific parts of the new assessment for basic literacy. Then, we'll explain the steps in scoring the ABL and write its interpretation and recommendation based on the results of the scored ABL and reflect on the importance of the new ABL. May I start? What is an ABL? It is an instrument to assess the learner's level of literacy, which is neo-literate and post-literate. It includes measures of ability and prior knowledge of learning strand 1 and 3. The test will determine the entry level of the learner and help the teacher design the learning plan and development suited to the needs of the learner. Who will undergo ABL? Of course, all the IELTS applicants who did not met the benchmark score for the PIS in the FLT. When? Before learning intervention. And where? In the different community learning centers, but be sure to observe the health protocol. How? The learner is given the Assessment for Basic Literacy Test booklet and the answer sheet, and the learner is expected to answer all the test items properly, avoid staying too long on the particular item, and avoid copying from seatmates. The PIS will be answered in the last part and to be administered individually by the teacher or the examiner. The new ABL was developed through the rigorous process to establish equivalence with the formal school levels from test specifications down to the test research. These are the comparison between the old and the new ABL. For the features, the old ABL has 4 stages and the new ABL has 2. The neo-literate or kinder and the post-literate or grade 1. For the test parts, the old ABL has 9 parts and the new ABL has 3, which is the ABL neo-literate in Filipino, ABL neo-literate in Filipino and English, and ABL post-literate. Those are the 3 different test parts of the new ABL. For the types of items, we have multiple choice, matching type, writing, counting, problem solving, and is safe for old ABL. But for the new ABL, only multiple choice, oral, and writing test. For the number of forms, the old ABL has only 1 form, while the new ABL has 3 forms, including ABL neo-literate in Filipino, ABL neo-literate in Filipino and English, ABL post-literate, including PIS in all forms. For the test length, old ABL has 9 parts, which is different items. But for the new ABL, in ABL neo-literate in Filipino, 15 items, ABL neo-literate in Filipino and English, we have 30 items, and ABL post-literate, which is 32 items, plus the PIS in oral, 4 items, and the PIS in written, which is 4 items also. For the time, the old ABL is only approximately 1 to 1.5 hours. But for the new ABL, in NLF, we have multiple choice 50 minutes and PIS 5 minutes. In NLF and E, multiple choice 60 minutes and PIS 5 minutes. But for the PL, multiple choice 60 minutes and PIS, which is only 4 minutes. Each level form has a specific guidelines for administration. These are the different first page of the manual for each form, and you can open your manual for further reading regarding the guidelines. For the Manual of Administration, the revision of ABL is a response to the need to align the ALS basic levels to the formal K-12 curriculum, particularly the Kinder and Grade 1. You can administer the test in small group, and the ABL is a multiple choice and followed by BIS. The significant feature of this ABL is that examiner reads its item to the examinee. And for the sign of the test, all three forms will go through the pre-test, administration of test, and post-test activities. Assessment for Basic Literacy Test Administration has a summary of conducting the test. ABL NLF has only one part, which is Filipino, and part 2, Mathematics and Filipino, with 7 items and 8 multiple choice. The ABL NLFE and ABL PL test in English and Filipino have the same procedure from pre-test till the post-test, except for the number of items under part 2 English with 8 items in the multiple choice. These are the number of tests and parts and number of items. For ABL NLF, we have a total of 15 per form. For ABL NLFE, we have 30 total per form, and ABL PL, we have 32 total per form, and for the PIS, we have 8 total per form. You will score multiple choice items per part, 1 point for every correct answer, and you will be provided with the answer key. That's for the scoring. That's the first step that you will do in scoring. And afterwards, you will obtain the total score for each part and of the test also. After that, the score the PIS and obtain the overall score. So from all the questions in the item for all the answers until the PIS, you will obtain the overall score. Now let's proceed for the interpretation of the ABL score. Benchmarks are used in interpreting the score of the learner to find out which level in the ALS program they will fall into, after which it will be basis for intervention. So for ABL Neoliterate in Filipino and English, if the total score is 0 to 11, meaning that's non-literate. If the total score is 12 to 13, that's Neo-literate or Kinder. That's the basis for ABL Neo-literate in Filipino. How about the ABL Neo-literate in Filipino and English? If the total score is 0 to 19, meaning non-literate. If the total score is 20 to 38, meaning Neo-literate or the level is Kinder. But in the ABL post-literate, if the total score is 0 to 21, meaning that particular learner is a Neo-literate or in Kinder level. But if the total score is 22 to 40, meaning that learner is a post-literate, that's the level, or equivalent to grade 1. Okay, we'll proceed to sample. This is an example of an examinee who have taken the ABL NLF test and was able to pass it and allowed to take the ABL-PL test. Others score that the learner who fails the FLT has to take the ABL to see where his level of training should be at the basic level. The learner has to take the neoliterate form first, and if he fails in it, that means he may need for kinder skills yet. But if the learner passes the neoliterate form, he or she may try the post-literate form. If the learner succeeds, then he can be aligned in the level equivalent to grade 1. But if not, he or she may remain at the neoliterate or the kinder level. After knowing the incorrect items, the facilitator will present the table of learning competencies. So here are the sample of the table of learning competencies from the neoliterate down to the post-literate. Those are the different samples. After the competencies presented, then we will guide the learner on making the individual learning agreement. So that's the process in trying to guide the learners on how to come up until making the individual learning agreement. I hope you are now enlightened on the process on conducting the assessment for basic literacy for our basic literacy learners. Thank you and good luck. Stay safe and inspired. And remember, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. God bless everyone.